Do you need a cordless steam wet dry vacuum? Because Roborock and Tineco have come out with some of the best wet dry vacuums I've ever seen. Because it's not just that they have the power of steam, it's also because they have bigger batteries, they're going to have better lights, they're going to have better self-cleaning, and these are ultimately the future of wet dry vacuums. And if you're looking at the Roborock right here, look at how much steam it actually produces. It's way beyond what your humidifier produces, and it's also going to be hotter. It's going to put the steam on the floor better. But not only that, the Tineco does the same thing. And then if you're looking at the maneuverability, they are so impressive now that I need to share with you what the differences are between them so you can pick which one is going to be the best for you. Now, doing a temperature check. I'm going to check the temperature in right where the steam is being made out of. And about 102 on the Roborock, and it's about 111 on the Tineco. So the Tineco is actually a little bit hotter on the floor than what you get with the Roborock. So let's do some tests here. We got our strawberry syrup, caramel syrup, as well as chocolate syrup. So this is going to be test number 1 for our F25 Ultra. Let's put some on the floor. And you might be asking yourself, why would I ever need the power of steam to clean my floors? Why wouldn't I just use a paper towel? Why wouldn't I just use a wet rag and some Clorox? But in this case, what I'm trying to show you is that because you have the power of steam, because you have the power of heat, it's going to do a better job not only disinfecting, but it actually does a better job cleaning. Because the biggest problem with a lot of wet dry vacuums is not going to be that they're not good at picking things up off your floor anymore. Is that the brush folds are going to be harder to maintain, and it's going to be easier to sanitize and clean these units by itself. So if you're looking at it, the same test with the Tineco F25 Ultra is also going to do just about the same job. I wish I could tell you for these sticky wet messes that the Tineco or the Roborock was superior to the other. But because they do such easy work on these sticky messes where you don't have to make repeated passes, and if you want to do a better job, you just need to go over it again. Or you can even take your Tineco or your Roborock, have it self-clean itself, and then do it again. And in that amount of time, it would still be faster than you trying to mop your floors on its own. And look at the production of steam here. These are not the same steam motors, as well as it's not the same steam mechanisms that we saw on previous steam models, because these are no longer corded, but they're also going to be more powerful, and they have a constant amount of steam being produced at all times. The same thing with the Tineco. When I tried on this huge wet mess where we added even chocolate milk to the mess, it did a great job picking everything up, and I didn't have to do repeat passes. But I did want to do repeat passes just to make sure that they got all the sugar off the floor. Next test is going to be peanut butter. So this is some extra creamy peanut butter we have here. First up is the Roborock F25 Ultra, and in this case I'm using the wave flow. So wave flow means it's going to be using hot water to pick up this oily sticky mess, and it does a great job picking it all up. The same thing we're going to run on our Tineco, and the Tineco is going to use the steam, and it also does a great job picking up everything off the floor because it uses the steam to break up all of that oily peanut butter and then picks it all up easily. So we're not seeing a big difference in terms of performance, but the Roborock does have that wave flow, so you don't need to use steam for the peanut butter. So you can see all around the underneath the brush, it's going to collect some of the peanut butter where the catch is. But overall, it picked up all the peanut butter, but you're going to have to wipe that down. But it just shows you the power of this unit. And if I wipe the floor here, there's no peanut butter. And if I wipe the floor here where the syrup was, there's no syrup. So it does a good job picking everything up. I used steam on this area and hot water, and then rinsed it with the soapy detergent water versus just hot water on the peanut butter area. Our next test is going to be very, very difficult. This is actually old oatmeal, very old, with bananas and everything inside of it. We're going to see if our F25 Ultra is going to be able to pick it up. Remember, there's whole bananas in here, whole bananas. And the key to this test is that you don't need to use paper towels to pick up something like this. If someone threw up on your floor, you can just use your steam wet dry vacuum and it's going to pick up that throw up and vomit, and it's going to clean itself as well. So that's good. Okay, so now that we've finished that, let's wipe it down. It's a lot of food. And yes, there are no remnants of that brown sugar banana maple syrup. Oatmeal here. The floor is not sticky. Not sticky. One drawback is that your Roborock does love to use battery though. So in order to produce that hot water and that amount of vapor, it does use a good amount of energy. So the battery life is good, but not great. And finally, this is going to be the dried coffee test for a Tineco S7 Ultra. I did a lot more tests, but I think this is going to be overkill because I think you're getting my point here. Because you're combining the power of the cordless with the steam, it just makes quick work out of all of these traditional messes that normally you would be concerned or you would have to put a lot of elbow grease into. So let's see how it performs here and listen to how it sounds. And granted, other wet dry vacuums that we've tested, including the Narwhal S30, are absolutely fantastic here. However, this power of steam, it just makes it a little bit more reliable to use on these organic messes. And for a lot of people with just hard floors, this might be the superior answer for you. With that said, let's take a closer look at all their features. What's the difference physically as well as internally in terms of all their components and how they work between the Roborock F25 ULTRA and the Tineco S7 Stretch Steam. So our Stretch S7 Steam has cleaned up all of that dried coffee stain off the floor. And if you're talking about the overall suction power between the Tineco Stretch S7 Steam and the Roborock S25 ULTRA, they both come with 25,000 pascals of suction. It actually, if you look at how these models are engineered and you put them side by side like this, I don't know if you could tell a big difference in how they look either. There is a difference in terms of, that the vapor flow and the wave flow on the Roborock is going to be slightly more advanced, and the wave flow is a great option. But there's not a big difference if you're just using the power of steam to clean up your floors, because both do a great job using that steam and applying it to your floors on their own. The F25 ULTRA comes with 60 minutes of runtime if you just use it in auto mode, so that means on its lowest setting. But if you have it on steam, you're going to be getting closer to about 20 minutes. It's in contrast to the Tineco, which is now coming with an 80-minute runtime on auto, but it will have 30 minutes of runtime on steam. So even though you're seeing a 20-minute difference if you're using it in the auto modes, there's going to be about a 5-10 minute difference in terms of the Tineco will have the improved battery life over the F25 ULTRA. Good thing about the F25 is that their auto soap dispenser is able to really efficiently add the detergent in. Because if you're looking at the soap here, you're thinking that it's going to go really fast. And what Roborock claims is they get 30 days of cleaning with a single detergent refill like you see here. And it's not going to be like adding a full bottle. It's going to be enough that you can use this on the daily and you're not going to be running out of detergent. It's hard to tell which one is which. The Tineco will have a stopper here, but no wheel. And your Roborock will come with a wheel in case you want to wheel it forward in the 180-degree flat position. So if you're looking right here, Roborock is opting for that 48-degree angle, and they're saying that's optimized because it's going to be really projecting slightly ahead of it so that the brush rolls are going to be in contact with the floor and the steam has already done its job breaking up whatever debris is in front of it. That's in contrast to what you see on the Tineco, where the Tineco is ever so slightly projected in front as well, but it's more facing straight down so that it's applying as much steam pressure or force on the floor, more so than what you would normally see on a steam vacuum. The steam here does exactly what it's intended to do. It's intended to disinfect your floors and sanitize them up to about 99.9% because it's so hot. It literally just kills all the bacteria that might be on your floor. There's also going to be this capture or this catch right here so that the steam and the water is going to be concentrated where the roller is, and this is something that did not exist on previous steam models, and we see that again on the Tineco, and it really does allow it to kind of just put all the water in one place as well as concentrate the steam so it does a better job disinfecting. What is a very interesting claim that Roborock is making is that their steam model here, because if you look at their website, it literally says certified zero damage to wooden floors, certified by the TUV SUD in steam cleaning mode. The test simulated 5 years of continuous use, and the solid wood floor surface showed no swelling, no wrapping, and no cracking, delivering powerful cleaning with total floor safety. With that said, I still would not recommend using steam on wood floors unless they're completely sealed, and that's because it's coming out at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, 302 degrees Fahrenheit to be exact. So it has a tendency to damage or remove the polyurethane coatings on your floor faster, as well as it's just going to be applying heat to your floors. At the same time, do not use steam if you have vinyl floors or anything heat sensitive, because they could potentially warp your floors as well. And if you're trying to figure out how the wave flow works, the wave flow works like this. So when you heat up the water and your water is hard, it's actually going to have some calcium buildup and or mineral buildup. But now, because they're adding this feature on the wave flow where it's going to be able to descale itself, there's a descaling filter right here, and that filter is going to be able to descale the water. That means you're not going to have that mineral buildup, and it's going to be easier to maintain your device longer. Because historically, if you were to use hot water, and this would convert your hot water to 187 degrees, just like your hot water tank, you would see a lot of calcium or mineral buildup in that hot water tank. If you're taking a closer look at the self-emptying bin, it does come with some nice accent features, and it's not a huge difference from what we're already seeing. There is going to be this little handle here. So without that, you have to pull it off, but this actually reduces the chance of it breaking, and this is going to be the filter. This will be on our F25 Stretch steam, and the filter itself is smaller than what you see on your Roborock. The Roborock will have the bigger filter. Pop out the Roborock here. Pop out the Tineco here. The filters themselves are both going to be washable, not a big difference between the two. So on the Tineco, I recommend you have this on a flat surface before you try to remove the tank here, because it could hypothetically just fall off. If you're looking at the differences between the filters inside the tanks, it's going to be on your Roborock. This is going to be on your Tineco. They both do the same thing, it's just that one is going to be larger and one has more screens than the other. Talking about the stats here, it's going to be using 302 degree steam self-washing. It's going to use 194 degree Fahrenheit hot water washing, and the hot air itself is going to be at about 203 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hotter than what you get on the Tineco. Roborock will also come with 2 drying modes, so it can dry your brush roll at 5-minute speed. Your Roborock also comes with 200 degree Fahrenheit self-drying mode, so it can have a fast dry in terms of the charging station, so it'll take about 5 minutes, but it's going to be a lot louder because it's going to be blowing more air. The Tineco uses the option to include their flash dry, so that overall it's going to be able to dry itself in about 5 minutes, but if you want to use it in silent dry, it's going to take about 40 minutes. Flash dry is much louder than silent dry, so it will take about 5 minutes to fully dry the brush roll, but it's going to be considerably louder. If you're talking about the steaming capabilities on your Tineco, it delivers the steam up to 184 degrees Fahrenheit, so that your floor temperature is going to be around 210 degrees Fahrenheit. So that steam is really hitting the floor at scalding hot temperatures, so that's going to be able to break up those sticky waste stains as well as the dried waste stains that you might have on your floor. I don't think if you necessarily need the 5-minute, I would go with the quiet drying myself, but if you want to go fast, it will make more noise, but it can definitely dry itself in 5 minutes. so that for drying and washing, they're going to be able to spin forward and backwards, which is going to give you better performance than if you just have to spin it in one direction. Because if you have any clogs or things attached to it, or there's areas that are going to be more wet, by going in different directions, it's just going to dry more evenly between the two. The Tineco self-propulsion backwards is a little bit jerky. I think the Roborock is going to be a little bit smoother, but overall, they both do a great job pushing themselves forwards and back. Not a big difference between the two. If you're looking at the LED lights, you're getting 6 LED lights on your Roborock here, and those lighting diodes are going to be quite large. They're also going to exist on your Tineco, but they're going to be more inlaid, and they do not look as large, but they produce light just the same. If you look at the bottom of both their units, they look awfully similar. They're both going to be sealed. The Roborock will come with these white wheels, and these are going to be rubberized. And the Tineco will come with these black wheels. They're also going to be rubberized. The Tineco wheels are going to be very similar here, not a huge difference between the two. So ultimately, what's the difference between the Roborock F25 ULTRA and the Tineco S7 Stretch Steam? It's really coming down to that the Roborock is giving you the automatic soap dispenser, as well as that the scaler for the hot water that it's using. It comes with the vapor flow, and vapor flow is a lot like what you already get on the Tineco for the steam here. They both give you scraper tools inside their rollers that we see on other high-end wet dry vacuums, so hair is not going to get tangled up. I wouldn't focus too much on which one is actually going to be making the steam hotter for longer. They both make reliable steam, and they both do a good job applying it to the floor. It really comes down to what are you looking for and which features are you most into. So the Roborock is really giving you that vapor flow and wave flow. And wave flow, it just allows it to use hot water. So it does a better job just using hot water even without the steam. And that really does do a good job just picking up wet messes on your floor as well as cleaning them up so there's less chance of odors. That's in contrast to the Tineco, which is giving you great steam. It gives you that reliable Tineco iLoop system, so the dirt detection one touch is all there. It's going to be giving you a large tank, and it's going to be pretty reliable in my opinion, because I've had a Tineco for many years and they've all work, and they all work well for me. It's just that the Roborock with that new technology, and because it has the same features that you get on the Tineco, but you're getting more new things with it, I think this is going to be the better buy in my opinion, all things considered, and if they're the same price. You can't discount the addition of the auto dispenser, because auto dispensers with that detergent allows it to be more efficient, it allows it to have more versatility, and it allows it to be cleaner so that you have less chance of odors in case you don't necessarily have to empty out the bin every session. It also allows it to be able to be switched into a vacuum, suction, a wet dry mop, as well as a steamer all in one, while not having to separate the water or worry about detergent in the water tank. The Tineco, really, the biggest weakness is that you can't or you won't add detergent into the water tank. You just have more insurance, I think, and steamer with the Roborock. But all things considered, the build quality is pretty much the same. The features as well as the app experience is pretty much the same. It just comes down to, do you want the auto detergent or do you want the longer battery life? This is the two big features between the two. And I think that's the best way to look at it. Do you want the soap auto detergent here, or do you want the longer battery life? Because in terms of versatility, maneuverability, and performance, they're both going to be just about the same. So with that, thanks for watching everybody. This is the comparison between the Roborock and the Tineco for their top of the line cordless steam models, the F25 ULTRA and the S7 Stretch Steam. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below, and please hit that like or subscribe button. It really does help support our channel. And I'll catch you next time. This is Dave with the French Glow signing off. Bye, bye, bye.